Four state businesses learn the latest on cybersecurity here at the Jomo Tech Summit in Joplin. Details are coming up.
Democrats are pushing hard for the president's nearly $3 trillion agenda, but Republicans are pointing to the price tag. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have details straight ahead.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Albee. Four state businesses today talked technology, also cybersecurity in Joplin. It's for the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce Innovation and Technology Summit. KOAM's Mike Mahoney spoke to a business that was there looking into increased online security options.
The four-state area may not be Silicon Valley, but the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce is convinced it has what it takes to be a tech leader.
We have a great story to tell here in Southwest Missouri, and we're a technical hub just like anybody else on the coast. And people are learning that, but we want to make sure that we tell that story.
And the Chamber believes a good way to tell that story is by kicking off an annual Innovation and Technology Summit, which they did Friday at Joplin's James River Church. The summit brought together local technology-related businesses, let them hear from cybersecurity experts, and gave them a chance to discuss other tech issues, including e-commerce and digital workforce development.
I think it's really key that we work to retain the current tech talent that we have, but also really work to figure out how we develop future tech talent.
Cybersecurity was a major theme of the summit, and many local businesses were there making sure they aren't the next ransomware victim. The owners of Hunt's Mobile Detailing in Joplin say making sure their customers' data is as safe as possible was a big reason for them attending.
We do have a very large clientele. We use online for almost everything anymore because everyone uses their phone to book something. They give us calls. We keep an extensive database on people's phone numbers, emails, addresses, everything. So learning about the data security as well on that has helped us out to where we can go in and implement some measures to keep those safe.
In Joplin, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
Today's Technology Summit was an inaugural event for the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce. The dates of November 3rd, also the 4th, have already been scheduled for next year's summit. Doug Heddy joining us now. Kind of a quiet evening out there. Doug?
Yeah, not bad at all. It's Friday, which Fridays are always good to make it to. Plus, we're heading into the weekend, and our weather looks really good as we go through the next couple days. A little bit warmer for us today. We made it pushing 60, 58. Started a little frosty during the morning hours at 37 degrees, but nothing's going on here. It's very quiet. It's going to be a quiet night. The Central Plains look fine. Temperatures, we're dropping back. Most of us now sitting into lower 40s. We'll drop back into the upper 30s once again by the time we head into the morning hours for us tomorrow. We're going to look at the weekend and our next chance for rain here in just a bit.
All right, Doug, thanks as always. Baxter Springs PD is asking for residents to make sure their addresses are clearly marked. Officers say they've had some difficulty recently locating homes that have requested emergency services. The city ordinance, by the way, says addresses must be clearly marked using contrasting colors, and those addresses must be at least 3 inches in size.
I don't care if you can spray paint the letters on the side of your house, you can buy them at True Value. It's not an expensive thing to do, and it's not time consuming. So give an effort out there, put it on there, and make yourself safe. Your lives actually and literally depend on it sometimes.
Baxter Springs police say sometimes blocks in the entire city have no properly marked addresses. Entire blocks have that happening. U.S. Senator from Missouri Roy Blunt is making his way around the Show Me State, highlighting a bill he's sponsoring aimed at conservation. Senator Blunt says the Recovering America's Wildlife Act would support the long-term health of fish and wildlife habitats all across America by investing in proactive, on-the-ground conservation work. As part of his tour today, he stopped by the Wawashee, Prairie, and Asbury.
But what Senator Heinrich and I are doing is proposing that the federal government play a bigger role in assisting states to move forward with their own plans for wildlife restoration.
The bill would lead to $20 million being invested in Missouri. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi postponed a vote on a massive social spending bill today, trying to push through a vote on infrastructure tonight over the objection of progressives threatening to revolt. But as of this hour, still a waiting game. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively reports now from D.C.
Hoping to deliver President Biden a win, House leadership pulled apart the two bills at the heart of his agenda Friday afternoon after Democrats had kept them in lockstep for months.
We had hoped to be able to bring both bills to the floor today Some members want more clarification or validation of numbers that have been put forth, that it's top line, that it is fully paid for.
The infrastructure bill, with $1 trillion for roads, bridges, water, and broadband, was separated from the more controversial Build Back Better measure. That social spending bill has strong support from progressives, providing at least $1.75 trillion more for education, health care, immigration, and climate change mitigation, while increasing taxes on the wealthy.
We can give assurance that it will be 100% paid for.
But moderates want to wait for the Congressional Budget Office to give the final word on the price tag, which could take weeks. Republicans are poised to oppose it, no matter how long the CBO takes.
This entire process has been a sham. It's been full of nothing but partisanship, disrespect for taxpayers, and late night and all-day antics.
We know it's the largest spending bill in the history of the United States. We just don't know exactly how much.
As for the Senate, members of both parties passed the infrastructure bill in August, but Democrats are struggling to unite on Build Back Better. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Well, a new COVID-19 pill could help bring an end to this pandemic. The White House says it's already secured doses. Fox News correspondent Brian Yennis explains.
The therapy would be another tool in our toolbox to protect people from what the worst outcomes of COVID.
President Biden says the U.S. has secured millions of doses of Pfizer's anti-COVID pill. The drug maker announced Friday the treatment cut hospitalizations and deaths by nearly 90% in a clinical trial. Pfizer expects to apply for emergency use authorization soon. If given the green light, health experts say the pill could ease the burden on hospitals.
Even if you start the medicine 5 days after having contracted the disease, COVID-19 with symptoms, you have now 85% protection.
The Biden administration maintains the best way to prevent COVID is by getting vaccinated. Nearly 70% of the U.S. is fully vaccinated against the virus, and we could see the number rise as children 5 through 11 years old begin getting their shots.
I just couldn't understand why, when we have the vaccine, when we have these opportunities, that we don't want to protect our babies.
Meanwhile, a new government-issued vaccine requirement aims to get some 84 million workers their shots, but it's facing mounting legal challenges. 11 state attorneys general filed a lawsuit Friday calling the requirement unconstitutional. Congressional Republicans are also moving to strike it down.
America's facing a supply chain crisis, rising costs on everything from gas to groceries. Americans are fed up with mandates and government control.
A vaccine deadline for federal contractors will take effect on January 4th. In New York, Brian Yennis, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Michael Keyes served in the U.S. Army. Native of Gardner, Kansas, Keyes was stationed in Germany, Bosnia, and Iraq. We are proud to thank and salute Specialist Michael Keyes. He's tonight's four-state hero. Doug Heddy's next with a complete look at the forecast. A bit later, a former local high school standout joining the Pitt State softball program. Gonna have details in sports.
Well, we made it through the work week, heading into the weekend, and a pretty good Friday for us today. No complaints after a little bit of a chilly start and had some patchy frost and a little bit of fog out there, but all in all, turned out to be a great Friday. You can see once the fog burns off, turns out to be a nice day, partly sunny skies. Great time lapse. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Parking lot filling up now. Friday night, heading into the weekend. Look at our lows this morning. Most of us upper 30s. So another cold start, but we didn't have a freeze, which is always good news. And then we warmed a little bit warmer this afternoon, upper 50s to near 60. Now we've dropped back off. It's 41 in Nevada, 43 in Knoll. We have Baxter sitting at 40, 41 in Pittsburgh. Independence checking in at about 46 degrees. And I think most of us will drop back upper 30s a little bit later on tonight. 42, south winds are light. Humidity again creeping up. So we may get a little bit of patchy fog once again late tonight, but in general, it looks like a pretty good night. Nothing's going on here. This is our four-state area, pretty much clear. Nothing really going on across the entire Central Plains. We do have a storm system out across the Pacific Northwest, and eventually this will start to affect us next week, but this whole bunch of nothing, that's our weather as we go through at least the next 3 days. We are looking pretty good. All right, let's go through time For us tonight, upper 30s to near 40 for an overnight low. Saturday is going to be fantastic. We'll have mostly sunny skies, a little bit warmer than what we saw today. I think we'll start at 38. 59 by noon, high temp right around 64. South winds, they're going to be light, so it's not even going to be windy. It's going to be just a fantastic Saturday. Even Sunday looks pretty good as well. Let's go into tomorrow night. Not as chilly. We drop back into lower 40s for overnight lows, and then as we go into Sunday, another fantastic day. If you're heading north to Kansas City, going to the Chiefs game, that game's at 325. Temperatures are going to be into the 60s. So Sunday looks fantastic as well. Enjoy it, because by next weekend, it's going to be significantly colder across the area. Let's go ahead and work through next week. Monday looks good, much of the same. We're going to have a nice day. Tuesday, we start to get a cold front in here. We're going to get some clouds, very slight chance we may get a random shower. Better chances for rain. They're going to hold off until late Wednesday. Some of these could be thunderstorms as well, so we want to watch that. Rain Wednesday night, and then here comes the colder air filtering in behind it for late next week. It's going to go back to kind of cold across the region. All right, 64 tomorrow, 69 on Sunday. Don't forget, I mean, in this day and age, we don't have to actually set our clocks back anymore, but don't be confused, because your cell phone's automatically going to set back. So we lose an evening hour or daylight, but we do gain an hour's sleep, which is always good. And then the rain chances Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, cooling down quite a bit by next weekend.
I don't know. I agree. I rely too much on technology. And Murphy's Law says when you rely too much on technology, what happens? Technology doesn't always pull through for you.
It's very true. I work on this computer very often. It doesn't always pull through for
you
me.
Above everyone else. Doug, Katie, we'll catch you in a little bit. Thank you so much. Coming up, growing concern that President Biden's vaccine mandate that we've been hearing about may actually make the whole supply chain crisis worse. Growing concern that President Biden's vaccine mandates may cause the supply chain crisis to get even worse. It's already bad now, with dozens of ships still stuck in the waters off ports. As Fox News Chief Correspondent Jonathan Hunt reports from the ports of Los Angeles, much of the problem comes from a shortage of truck drivers.
Tackling the trucker shortage is undoubtedly one of the keys to breaking the backlog of consumer goods piling up at our ports.
And so we do have to work with them to make sure we get them back on the job and get them back driving.
But some trucking organizations told Congress this week vaccine mandates will hurt the drive to recruit more drivers.
The trucking industry is not anti-vaccination. We are anti-supply chain inefficiency.
The Labor Secretary says it's a moot point, given that many truckers are independent contractors. With dozens of container ships, meantime, still idling off the California coast, the message from President Biden's Commerce Secretary to American consumers is simple. Don't expect your government to fix the issue.
It's the private sector that runs supply chains.
Secretary Raimondo said earlier this week her advice to people who ask her whether they'll get deliveries for the holidays was, quote, call FedEx. She also said the infrastructure bill will help matters. Republicans argue it will make the situation even worse.
They really should be working on fixing our supply chain crisis, but the Democratic policies will create even more disruptions by shipping more of our businesses overseas.
Pre-pandemic, around a dozen or so container ships would sit offshore for perhaps one day on average, waiting to dock at the twin ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, the largest in the U.S. Today, around 70 container ships are waiting, and the waits can easily stretch for more than a week. And those ships represent hundreds of millions of dollars of goods Americans want in their homes. Which brings us back to the truckers. The Biden administration says it is working to get new drivers licensed as quickly as possible, in time for the holiday shopping surge. The average time to train and qualify for a commercial driver's license is 7 weeks. 7 weeks from today, by the way, is Christmas Eve, so the pressure's on. At the Port of Los Angeles, Jonathan Hunt, Fox News.
Just ahead, a groundbreaking general laid to rest, surrounded by friends, family, and former presidents. An emotional day as family, former presidents, and loved ones bid a final farewell to former Secretary of State Colin Powell as he was honored at Washington National Cathedral today. Fox News national security correspondent Jennifer Griffin is in Washington with more on the tribute to his life and service to our country.
They say you can judge a person's life by who shows up at his funeral. In the case of former Secretary of State Colin Powell.
Colin Powell was a great lion with a big heart. We will miss him terribly.
1,000 guests arrived for a private service at the National Cathedral, which included President and Mrs. Biden, two former presidents, President Bush and President Obama, along with three first ladies, including former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton.
Honesty, dignity, loyalty, and an unshakable commitment to his calling and word. These were the same traits he sought tirelessly to instill in the soldiers under his command, the diplomats he led, the colleagues with whom he worked.
Colin Powell broke so many barriers, he became the first black national security advisor under Ronald Reagan, the first and only black chairman of the Joint Chiefs under George H.W. Bush, and the first black Secretary of State under George W. Bush. He rose to general, but he was always a soldier. For Powell, who served under Republican presidents, born to Jamaican immigrants, joined ROTC in college, and believed the U.S. military was the great equalizer and the surest way to racial equality because you are promoted based on your abilities. In 1996, the Republican Party floated the idea of Powell running for president. His wife Alma nixed it, fearing for his safety. A staunch critic of President Trump, he finally left the Republican Party after January 6 in protest. Colin Powell died on October 18th of complications from COVID-19. He was 84. In Washington, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
All right, coming up, a big step in a conservation effort in the Amazon. Plus, hey, look at this. This is some really cute, adorable baby turtle video. Who can miss this? More on this when we come back. Conservation effort to save river turtles native to the Amazon rainforest has taken a big step forward with the small steps of those baby turtles. Look at them. 3,000 of the young turtles were released into a river in Peru. The turtles had hatched from eggs that were kept on artificial beaches. Now, the river turtles are considered vulnerable by the International Union for Conservation of Nature. For many years, they've been killed for human consumption, kept as pets, too. Peru has the second largest share of the Amazon rainforest after Brazil. Those turtles, when they were going into the water, they looked determined, didn't they? They had a mission. They knew they were important, and they are. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. How Pittsburgh business is honoring Native American Heritage Month.
The state of the economy now in focus with a higher than expected October jobs report. I'm Mallory Rivera in Washington with what the Biden administration is saying about the ongoing economic recovery coming up.
November is Native American Heritage Month. It's time to honor the heritage and contributions of Native people. Well, one bookstore in Pittsburgh is using this month, to do just that. KOAM's Bronte Sirosky tells us how the owner is using her store and heritage to educate four-staters about this month's importance.
Native American Heritage Month is observed all month long and even year-long at Books & Borough in Pittsburgh. Darcy Schultz co-owns the bookstore with her husband. Originally from Miami, she's a member of the Peoria Tribe of Indians of Oklahoma. And she's using her heritage and store to educate four-state residents about Native culture.
We still do a lot of research. We're, always looking for Native authors.
This month in particular, the bookstore will host various book clubs to study Native American literature, as well as a ceremony to recognize the land the bookstore sits on by acknowledging its Native roots.
The land acknowledgement is when you put together a statement, and they're all a little bit different, but you are recognizing the land that, if either like this physical building is on, and honoring those nations that it's their ancestral lands. It's a statement of respect and memory.
For Schultz, sharing her heritage and identity not only helps the community learn more about her culture, but allows herself to as well.
I'm still learning my own culture, and that's kind of common too, where you feel very disconnected. And so I just kind of want people to think like, well, they're we're on this journey together.
And she wants to make sure Native Americans aren't overlooked, which is what this month and her store are about.
We're still here. And we're doing things. You know, we're business owners. We're part of the community. That's important for everyone to know.
In Pittsburgh, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
For more information on programming or books by Native Americans, head over to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Area students today toured to Pitt State's Kansas Technology Center. The College of Technology hosted an open house and expo. Officials say more than 800 high school and community college students were expected to attend, exploring career opportunities ranging from automotive, technology, graphic design, and construction.
We have live demonstrations. We have opportunities for students to make things, to do different activities, everything from light painting and photography to running construction simulators or excavators, to making things in plastics or in architectural manufacturing management.
The event also provided information about scholarship opportunities. Representatives from Joplin's Children's Center gathered today to recognize a milestone. Since its inception in 1997, the center has served 20,000 local survivors of child abuse. They're not victims, they're survivors. The children served by the center are referred by local agencies in the center's 12-county area.
Over our 24 years, we've obviously grown. We started off with a staff of 2, and now we have a staff of about 20. And so we're able to provide those services in our more rural areas of the counties that we serve. And we now provide therapy for kids who have experienced that trauma to help with the healing afterwards.
Children's Center is a not-for-profit organization created to provide a safe, child-focused setting for investigating and treating child abuse in Southwest Missouri. Fifth graders at McKinley Elementary headed off to college today to get a lesson on anatomy. KCU Medical School in Joplin hosted the Champs Anatomy Academy. The academy pairs elementary students with KCU medical students to learn about medical terms, body systems, and functions.
That they get from this program, the hands-on experience, and plus they're interacting with the medical students, so it's giving the medical students an opportunity to just learn patience and build relationships with our Joplin School elementary community.
The Champs Anatomy Academy is a 6-week program. A Newton County High School senior is using her art to help others. Kristen Coffey is calling on her YouTube viewers to commission drawings for donations to St. Jude Children's Hospital. She's going to create the drawing for a $5 donation, and thus far, she's raked in $3,000 in 3 weeks.
Well, how I got people to really hop onto it and donate and stuff, I was like, well, if you donate $5 or more, I'll draw you something. And people really liked that. They really did. And so now I got a lot of art to do, but it was for something cool. I'm telling
Cool
you,
indeed. Great idea. Coffey appeared on the YouTube original show Instant Influencer on the October 27th episode. Major employment gains reflected in the October jobs report. With the surge of COVID cases dropping and unemployment benefits expiring, there are workers interested in rejoining that labor force. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has a closer look from D.C.
If a job fair in San Francisco is any indication, there are growing signs that more Americans are ready to get back to work.
It's wonderful. People have been reaching out to me.
The fair got triple the expected turnout, almost 1,000 people, just in time for businesses looking to staff up for the upcoming holiday season.
We're just excited to see people ready to take on new jobs, to get better jobs, to go back to work.
The Labor Department said Friday more than 500,000 people found jobs in October, news President Biden was eager to tout.
This recovery is faster, stronger, and fairer and wider than almost anyone could have predicted.
But the labor participation rate is still lower than it was before the pandemic, and struggling businesses have turned to higher wages, signing bonuses, and better benefits to lure back the help they desperately need. All that coaxing comes at a price, and consumers are already feeling the pinch.
And on top of higher labor costs, this can only imply
future price hikes for consumer goods and services.
And the demand for workers is only growing. With Thanksgiving less than 3 weeks away, UPS is going on a hiring binge, looking for 60,000 workers in time for the holidays.
I'm usually the last minute person. I never start early, so yes, this is the earliest I've ever started.
The question is whether those higher wages that businesses are paying outpace inflation. This week, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said the outlook was highly uncertain. In Washington, Mallory Rivera, Fox News.
Bit later, New York City Marathon back on after being canceled last year because of COVID. Going to see how the marathon started versus how it's being held this year.
Well, it turned out to be a nice Friday for us today. After a cold start during the morning hours, upper 30s, we had some patchy fog, we had some frost, which you can see burn off here. And then it turned out to be a pretty nice Friday. You can see the trees are turning. We're very close to our peak with the fall colors. And of course, we're going to see a very nice weekend on tap for us. Great shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Not a great shot right now, but it turns out to be a great shot. And of course, Friday evening, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, look at our lows during the morning hours. Upper 30s, we did have, like Parsons dropped to 32, 36 Yates Center, 35 in Independence. Most of us above that freezing mark. A little bit warmer for us today. Most of us upper 50s to near 60 degrees. We've dropped back, but a nice evening. Most of the high school football games are wrapping up or just have wrapped up. Temperatures have been into the 40s. We'll drop back into the upper 30s once again later on tonight. There may be a little bit of frost in some areas, but most of us are going to be fine. All right, 42. Here's our dew point, 37 degrees. That number can't drop below that number, so that's going to be pretty much what our overnight low is, about 37. We'll hit the dew point, and we'll get 100% humidity or near it. So, of course, we are going to have a little bit of patchy fog across the region. All right, not much going on out here. Really, the entire Central Plains will look fine. We can head west. This is our weather over the next few days. Then eventually, we'll tap into that storm system. That will change our weather up just a bit by next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Until then, we get a really good stretch. For us tonight, upper 30s to near 40. Pretty much clear skies. Fantastic Saturday. Mostly sunny skies, a little bit warmer than what we did see today. Here's your day planner, 38 to start, 59 by noon, high temp is 64. It's not even going to be windy. We're going to have those south winds light at about 5 to 10. We'll drop back near 40 once again tomorrow night, lower 40s. Sunday looks great. We're going to bounce near 70 during the afternoon. If you're heading north, Kansas City, the Chiefs game at 3:25. It looks great. The entire weekend's going to be fantastic. Monday even looks really good. Temperatures are going to be nice again, while partly sunny skies. By Tuesday, we start to get that next storm system in here. We'll get some clouds. We may get a random shower, but our better chances for rain are going to hold off until Wednesday afternoon. Showers could even get some thunderstorms, so we need to watch that over the next few days. And then behind this system on Thursday, Friday, and into next weekend, here comes the colder air as it filters in and we cool right back down. But this weekend looks great. 64 tomorrow, 69 on Sunday. Clocks go back 1 hour, 72 on Monday, 68 Tuesday, 70 on Wednesday. So the next 5 days, temperature's great, and then our temps start dropping next Thursday and Friday.
All right, so quickly, who you got this weekend for the Chiefs game?
I think the Chiefs will barely win because there's no Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So,
because of that.
Only because of that.
Yeah. All right, Doug, thank you. Coming up in sports, going to hear from the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, on Sunday's matchup with those Packers. Plus, Pitt State seniors preparing for the final home game of their college careers. Jacob Letter joins us with that and more next.
Well, both the Pittsburgh State Gorillas and Missouri Southern Lions will be in action at home tomorrow afternoon. For Pittsburgh State, it's a big one, trying to keep their playoff hopes alive against Washburn. Now, both teams are 7-2 heading into the weekend. For the Pittsburgh State seniors, it will be their final home game of their careers at Carney Smith Stadium. So while they're focused on the game, they'll also take a little time and enjoy their final 60 minutes in the jungle.
You don't realize how fast it goes until you're actually here. And you look back at everything that we've been through, all of us seniors have been through. has just been a roller coaster, and you know, and we're still here. You know, people joke around with us that, you know, we're old and this is our 10th year in college, but like we've outlasted them all. This season, I've tried to slow down and really take it all in, and just kind of close my eyes and like remember the smells and the sounds of the gorilla walk. But this one, I think I'll take it a little bit more slow. And really enjoy it, because that's something, and that feeling that you get on the gorilla walk is something that you can only get in that place and time. So that's something that I'm going to try to slow down and cherish this last Saturday.
The Kansas City Chiefs are 4-4 through their first 8 games of the season. Last week they picked up a win at home, beating the Giants 20-17. This week they remain at home, facing the Green Bay Packers on Sunday afternoon. Like we do every Friday night, though, right now it's time to hear from the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, in this week's Minute with Mitch.
The NFL wanted this showdown 2 years ago, and they're still not going to get it. The showdown between Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers and Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. Remember, in 2019, Mahomes was injured the week before that much-anticipated game. Now, Aaron Rodgers has tested positive for COVID, and he's unvaccinated, so he's out for this year's game. But there's another showdown here. Curly Lambeau founded the Green Bay Packers in 1919. He was their player, coach, and coach for 3 decades. Curly had 226 career wins as an NFL head coach. If the Chiefs can beat the Packers and Jordan Love on Sunday, the Chiefs coach will have 226 career wins and catch Curly Lambeau. No Rodgers versus Mahomes, but catch Curly on this Minute with Mitch. The Minute with Mitch is brought to you by Como Jewelry. Every day's game day, Como Jewelry, Pittsburgh, Joplin.
Sunday's game kicks off at 3:25 right here on Fox 14. The Chiefs are 7.5-point favorites. A former Webb City High School standout, Hayden Berry, is joining the Pittsburgh State softball program. Berry announced today she will be transferring from Central Missouri to join the Gorillas. Berry was an all-state pitcher at Webb City and was the COC Player of the Year in both her junior and senior seasons for the Cardinals. And that's a look at sports. Be sure to stick with us later tonight at 11 for Press Box here on Fox 14. It's a 30-minute show, all football. We'll have high school football highlights and scores from all across the area. We're back with more news after this.
Sunday marks the return of the New York City Marathon, its 50th anniversary. Fox Business Network's Cheryl Casson has a closer look at this iconic race.
How it started versus how it's going. The Big Apple gearing up for the 50th anniversary of the New York City Marathon this Sunday. The tradition started in 1970 with only 127 runners, including 18-year-old Joe Martino visiting New York for the first time.
For some reason, we came together that day and we decided running a marathon in Central Park was a great idea. Coming across the finish line, I felt like I really accomplished something.
Over the next 3 decades, the marathon became an international event, drawing some of the best athletes from around the world. In 2001, the race brought people together just 2 months after the deadly September 11th attacks, proving the resilience of New Yorkers and helping the city heal. Kelly Kenny was supposed to be at the World Trade Center that morning. After losing so many friends and colleagues, she ran that year with American flags pinned to her jersey.
It was extremely moving. It was moving for people around us, and just love my city, love my country, and was happy to be able to do that at that time.
Fast forward to 2020. The pandemic tested New York again, forcing the Big Apple into a near shutdown. Still, the running community rallied together, with 16,000 people completing the race virtually, including me, when I finished on a rainy Sunday that would have been Marathon Day. And now, New York is back and ready to welcome 30,000 runners on Sunday, celebrating 50 years as one of the most iconic races in the world. With one special volunteer who can't wait to be back at the finish line for her 30th year welcoming exhausted runners, Barbara Rubenstein.
It's exciting every year. I love doing it. And I see a lot of the same people every year. It means everything to me. I think it keeps me going, keeps me young just to be here.
Come race day, 30,000 runners will cross the finish line behind me, marking the return of the marathon and the return of New York City. Cheryl Casoni, Fox Business.
Pretty cool. All right, next, look at some movies now showing at those theaters, also on demand. A highly anticipated star-filled superhero cast heads to screens. We have a preview of this and more new releases this week. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
We have loved these people since the day we arrived.
Marvel's Eternals adventure is in theaters.
It follows a group of immortal beings originally tasked with helping humans evolve after defeating their arch nemesis, the Deviants. But when half the universe returned at the end of Avengers Endgame, so did the Deviants, and now the Eternals must reunite to save the world.
Your Royal Highness.
Also in theaters, Spencer, starring Kristen Stewart as the late Princess Diana.
This film finds Diana on the cusp of ending her marriage to Prince Charles while spending the holidays with the royal family.
We do this together.
On Apple TV Plus, Tom Hanks leads a sci-fi post-apocalyptic film with a couple of cool co-stars.
Finch's Tom Hanks, a dog, and a robot. Really, what else do you need to know there? If you are a fan of Tom Hanks' Castaway, this is probably the closest film to that one.
What's going on in that funny little head of yours?
Amazon Prime has the biopic The Electrical Life of Louis Wayne, about the inventor and artist.
He made these very eclectic cat drawings that was inspired by his wife, who was sick at the time. But this was also a man who was suffering from schizophrenia, and those mental health issues were almost also feeding his art.
I met someone. Netflix adds Love Hard, about a woman who goes from LA to New York to surprise a man she met online.
And then learns that she's been catfished. However, the man who she has been talking to, played by Jimmy O. Yang, claims to know the guy that she really did fall for, and he tries to set her up with him.
Love doesn't have to be perfect.
One of many holiday titles in a busy movie season. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Gonna leave you with more video of those baby turtles being released back into the Amazon rainforest. Do great things, little ones. Make us proud. Have a great, safe weekend. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.